All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am Mistress Carrie. Thank you guys for joining me in my war room every Tuesday night at 8:30. And my co-host is here tonight. For anybody that's new to the war room, this all started on March 14th. We were locked in our houses, quarantined, social distancing, doing the whole sheltering in place, whatever you wanted to call it. And so we started hanging out every night at 8:30 and having a drink. And then it went for 81 nights straight until a couple of weeks ago when we finally decided that maybe leaving the house might be a good idea. And we decided to meet weekly. Now, one thing that we have done since we started doing this weekly is we have upgraded production. Wednesday, come here. Come here. Wednesday, my dog is my co-host here on Cocktails in the War Room. And she has her own pub cam. Yay! Wednesday, come over here and say hi to everybody. Come over here and say hi to everybody. There she is. Wednesday is my co-host. She is my 2-year-old pug named after Wednesday from the Addams Family. And she is on Instagram at Wednesday the Goth Pug if you want to follow her on Instagram. I've been waiting to use the pug cam for 2 weeks. How are you guys? I missed you guys. I am so happy to see you. We have so much to talk about. But of course, anybody that is not new to the war room knows that as soon as Wednesday shows up, she likes to knock all of the pillows off my couch. And then she likes to play with all of the squeaky toys that you guys have sent her, which is incredibly sweet and generous. And I love you guys for sending her all the toys that you do. And of course, they all have squeakers in them. So you will hear Wednesday squeak throughout Cocktails in the War Room tonight. I had to brag or beg her, I should say, to come and hang out with me tonight. And part of it was because I went through all of the effort of setting up the pug cam. Thank you. I'm glad you guys love the pug cam, Jamie. That is awesome. I missed you guys too, Leanne. Wednesday is not pissed off anymore. No, she is not upset with me because last week, she didn't want to come in the war room with me because I had left the house for a few days and left her with Grammy while I was away. And she was really mad at me that I left her for like 5 days. And so last week, she boycotted the war room. But she's back now. So before we go any further, you guys can hear me okay, right? There's no echoes. Everything's good. The volume is okay on the microphones. Somebody's asking what software I'm using. It's called Ecamm. I found out that it's actually made in Massachusetts, which was a total accident. But my buddy Dave, whose 103-year-old grandmother is the one that chugged the Bud Light after she recovered from COVID, he's the one that got me all hooked up. And the gear list is not that much for people that are asking. I'll go over the technical stuff here in the war room if you really want me to. Not very exciting, but I will totally do that for you. Really, Wednesday? I'm so glad the pug cam's getting used. Right? You got your own camera. So how are you guys? I have so much to talk to you guys about. Thank you, Jason. Look and sound great. Fantastic. Great here. So many people are talking about how they got their Cocktails in the War Room t-shirts. And so I want to talk to you guys about the t-shirts because I got some numbers for you and you guys are freaking awesome, and wait until you hear what's going on. For anybody that doesn't know about the t-shirts, for anybody that is new to the war room, I hate to be repetitive for the people that have been in the war room the whole time, but we are welcoming new people into our tribe, our cult, our whatever we want to call ourselves, our gang, all the time. So we decided while we were all locked up in our houses to try and do something good while we were all kind of separated together, apart, as they were saying. And so my friend Christine at Latini Creative Solutions came up with the artwork for Cocktails in the War Room and the t-shirts. And so we decided to make t-shirts, and they are made in the USA cotton. My friend Brian at Whirlwind Productions up in Derry, New Hampshire printed them, another local business. We wanted to support as many local businesses as we could. I know it's hard to keep your eyes on me when the dog is playing on the pug cam, but I'm glad she's using it tonight. So I want you guys to be able to see her playing with all of the toys that you guys have bought her. So anyway, so we sold these shirts. We shipped them through the post office, and we donated 100% of the profits, or getting ready to donate 100% of the profits to the Massachusetts Military Support Foundation, which has been setting up food distribution sites all over Massachusetts, including the big one that has been in Foxborough. I'm going to turn the pug cam off now because I don't know where the hell Wednesday's going. So after I shipped out the final envelopes filled with Cocktails in the War Room t-shirts this past Friday, I was able to pay everybody. So all of the expenses, the envelopes, the labels, the designing, the printing, the shipping, when everything was paid for. Are you guys ready? I'm so excited because I had a goal. Drum roll, please, Will. Okay. We raised, after everything was taken care of, for the Massachusetts Military Support Foundation, $5,600. You guys are unbelievable. I got the final dollar amount and I was going to post it up on Facebook, but I wanted to wait to tell you guys when we got into the war room because it is unbelievable. So I emailed Don, the director of the charity, and he was overwhelmed. He was so excited that we are working on meeting up. He wants to give me a guided tour of the food distribution site down at Gillette Stadium. He wants to show me where everything is. I'm going to give him his Cocktails in the War Room shirt that I bought for him. And we're going to do the big photo op. And I'm working on getting one of those obnoxiously big checks so that we can do the photo op and all of it. So we sold just under 800 shirts. And, you know, I am just overwhelmed. You guys are unbelievable. $5,600. So awesome. So you guys will get, I'm going to put the photo gallery up of all of the pictures and some of the video that I take of the tour down at Gillette. And we're just trying to work out a day that works for everybody and try to get some cameras down there because this is the first charitable endeavor that I have had after my career at WAF. It's the first thing I've done on my own. And you guys are so unbelievable. And I'm just so excited. I could not wait to tell you all of the t-shirts that we sold. And I'm so proud and I'm so grateful and humbled and just, you guys are amazing. $5,600 and some change. It's not going to be an even 5,600. I got to work out the exact, I think it's like 56,1647 or like, I want to make sure every penny goes to the charity that was profits from the shirt. So, I don't know why. Hold on a second. I don't know why that date was on there. Oh, I do know why. I'll come to that in a minute. If you guys are wondering why it said June 25th underneath, sorry about that. That's for another slide that I'm going to get to about something else that's going on. But I really, 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 really wanted to thank you guys for supporting the t-shirts. Now, here's the deal. I sent out the final shipment of Cocktails in the War Room t-shirts, and I know people have been getting them faster than others, so I want to go over quickly how they got shipped out in case people haven't gotten them yet. So the way that I did it was when you place your order, I printed out your address label, which is whatever the shipping address was on PayPal. Now, some people didn't realize they had moved and never updated PayPal, and we've had some issues. But whatever the shipping address was for PayPal, I printed out the label. And then on the back of the label, I put the size shirt that you ordered. And then we stacked the labels by size. So when my family and I started packing the envelopes, we started with the smalls and all the smalls got packed. And then all the mediums got packed. And then all the larges and so on and so on and so on. And as they were getting packed, I was going to the post office. And I got to thank everybody at the post office. They were so amazing last week. They were high-fiving me with gloves on because we were supposed to social distance with the masks and everything. But they were really excited that we got all of the shirts shipped out. So by now, there's a really good chance that you should have them. However, Some of the shirts got mailed out late on Friday afternoon. And then obviously, you know, because of the weekend and whatever, there's a chance, especially if you are out of state, that maybe you have not gotten your shirt yet. I would give it a couple more days. And then if you don't get it, reach out to me by the email address that was on your invoice when you got billed from PayPal, and we'll try and get it straightened out. I don't know why you wouldn't have them by now, but give it another couple days just in case. I checked the post office box today, by the way, and none of the shirts, because if your shirt can't be delivered, it comes back to me at the post office box. And none of them that I shipped last week have been returned yet. Now, sometimes returns take days longer. So by the end of the week, I'll go and check the post office box again, and then I'll reach out to those people if they get returned and try to get it back to you. By the way, I checked the post office box, and I want to thank Leanne in Fitchburg. I got your letter. It was incredibly sweet. I loved it. Thank you so much. So if you don't have your shirts yet, hopefully they're coming. If you did not get a chance to buy your Cocktails in the War Room shirt, my website is almost done, and there is going to be an online store, and we're going to bring the Cocktails in the War Room t-shirts back by the end of the summer, and you'll be able to get yours then. So don't worry. They're not being discontinued. However, the OGs from the War Room, the back is going to change. So when you see somebody wearing a Cocktails in the War Room t-shirt, you can look at the back. And if it says, don't lick anything weird and wash your damn hands, you know that they are original Cocktails in the War Room shirts from the lockdown. Monica wants to know if I got dicks. I did not get any new dicks, but I did bring the old dicks in that I got last week because I'm still trying to get dicksbymail.com to sponsor the Mistress Carrie podcast. Speaking of that, by the way, you see the logos in the bottom corners of the screen. This week, Cocktails in the War Room and the Mistress Carrie podcast are sponsored by two different organizations and companies that I have worked very closely with. RPM Dynamics, my buddy Jim, I've known him for over 20 years. We were roadies together before I started on the air. And when it comes to sound engineers and sound companies, he is the best of the best. Meticulous, almost to the point where you want to wring his neck because he's so organized and meticulous. I bring it up, and the reason why he wanted to sponsor the podcast this week and Cocktails in the War Room is that now that we are reopening restaurants and places like that, a lot of places are now having to create outdoor entertainment spaces for their restaurants and their bars that are now serving food so that they can open. And you might need outdoor speakers. There are places that are creating outdoor venues so that they can get open again. And if you're looking to upgrade the sound system in your restaurant, in your business, or if you're trying to create a new outdoor entertainment space, you're going to need really good audio equipment. And if you need really good audio equipment, you got to go to RPM Dynamics. They're right in New Hampshire. My buddy Jim helped me wire MCHQ, which is my podcast and recording studio. And he's amazing. So log on to rpmdynamics.com and get all of the information. You can contact Jim right there. But if you're looking for great audio equipment, you can get it there. And then the other sponsor this week, again, is Image Custom Designs. Now, these guys have been in business locally. They're right in Worcester. They've been in business for over 20 years. It's a family-owned business. Now, normally, in a perfect world, they're making road cases for touring audio equipment. Because of the coronavirus, they made the console for MCHQ, and they have also gotten into the business of making those custom acrylic sneeze guards. So if you have a business with a cash register or a cashier, and to meet all of the standards to open, you need those acrylic shields in front of your cashier to protect them from the virus. The guys at Image Custom Designs can make one for you. They can put your company logo in it. It'll be professionally designed, built, and installed, and they're fantastic. And you can go to imagecustomdesigns.com and see the ones that they've built. And I just want to thank them for being early believers in the War Room and the podcast. And they've become friends of mine over the years. And I want to do everything I can to help support their local businesses as well. So rpmdynamics.com and imagecustomdesigns.com. Thank you guys, because you guys rock. And by the way, if dicksbymail.com wants to sponsor the podcast, that's fine too. Okay, so I want to go over a couple more things with you because we got a lot to talk about. I have copious notes in my notebook. Last week, I had just gotten back from a few days off, and we had strayed away from business as usual here in the War Room. So again, if you're new to the War Room, we go through a lot of things. We have a lot to talk about. Jen says, I need a new custom road case. My last one is beat. Well, Jen, there you go. Call the guys an Image. They're awesome. And you might not think that you need a road case. You don't need to be a rock band to need a road case, by the way. You could be a traveling salesperson. You could have camera equipment or computer equipment, stuff that you need to move around that's delicate and you need a case for it. So you can call those guys. But we have a lot to talk about. One of the first things that I want to talk to you guys about is the post office. You all got your Cocktails in the War Room t-shirts, and the return address has been my post office box where you guys have been sending me mail. I made a slight change to my mailing address, and I wanted to loop you guys in on it so you had an idea as to why. So my new mailing address is this right here. It's basically the same address, but it's worded differently because there are some places that couldn't ship to a post office box. So the people at the post office helped me change my address. So you want to make a note of this. It's the same place, but it's worded differently so as to be able to accept UPS packages and also to be able to accept some other shipping options. So it is Mistress Carrie, 68 Main Street, Unit 1086 in Leominster, Mass. 01453. So rather than post office box, it's 68 Main Street, and it's the same number, 1086. So I wanted you guys to have the updated address so you could make a note of it because I know what you got on all of your return address labels for your t-shirts, but I wanted to make sure that I updated it for all of you guys. Monica wants to know if the microphone was expensive. Yeah, this is the best microphone in the business, or one of the best ones. And so, yeah, I had to bust out the good money for it, but it sounds really good. So anyway, thank you guys for all of the amazing things, the toys for Wednesday, like her monkey here that she left behind when she took off, the bags of dicks, the letters, the pictures, everything that you guys have been sending. I absolutely love. I look forward to going to the post office and getting the mail. And so I wanted to make sure that all of the mail got there. Now, just because I changed the address to this doesn't mean that if your shirts get returned to my post office box that they won't get there. I am now best friends with everyone at the post office because I shipped 800 Cocktails in the War Room t-shirts out, and they assured me that my mail is going to get there no matter what. Thank you, Mark. He said screen captured. That's exactly why I did this, so that you guys... I think it sounds more professional, don't you? Hi, Mistress Carrie, 68 Main Street, Unit 1086. Or you could even word it Suite 1086. Either way, it's going to get there. So that's the new address. Okay, so you wanted to know why June 25th was up on the screen. That is because of the One Mission virtual buzz-off. Now... you have heard of the Buzz Off in the past. They've held it at Gillette Stadium, and that is where people have gone to raise money for families that are dealing with pediatric cancer. And they have had these events where they have hundreds of barbers shaving people's heads, and they raise money, and everybody shaves their head, and it's awesome. And obviously, the virus has made it incredibly difficult to do that this year. So the One Mission virtual Buzz Off is happening on June 25th. And you can get involved if you log on to the website, buzzforkids.org, or you can text Buzz Off to 44321, and you can make a donation. But if you are interested in shaving your head, or someone in your family or a friend of yours is interested in shaving their head, you can get involved with the One Mission virtual Buzz Off. And I did, hold on, let me put that date up there for you. Let me see if I can do this while yeah, look at that. Technology. So that is the date of the virtual Buzz Off. So log on to the website, buzzforkids.org, or you can donate by texting Buzz Off, all one word, to 44321. And they are going to do a live virtual Buzz Off. So this is all going to happen live on the web. And I was honored when they reached out to me and asked me to help get the word out. And they specifically said, can you talk about it in the war room? So just so you guys know, people are starting to take notice of what we've got going on in the war room because people are starting to ask to be a part of the war room, which is awesome. Now, somebody asked if I was going to shave my head. No, I'm not shaving my head. I just spent all kinds of money redoing all of the graphics for the podcast that feature my purple hair. I kind of need the hair for a while. And I asked them that. I said, can I be an ambassador for you guys and not shave my head? And they said, absolutely. We just want you to help get the word out. So that's what I'm doing. Maybe someday I will shave my head, but it's not going to be today. But everybody that does want to shave their head, I think you're fucking badasses. So be part of the One Mission virtual Buzz Off. It's happening June 25th this year. Go to buzzforkids.org, or you can make a donation if you text Buzz Off to 44321. I'm so glad. What if you don't have much hair? Scott, if you can get people to donate and sponsor you to shave off the little hair you have left, it's going to help kids and families that are dealing with pediatric cancer. So it's going for a great cause. Thank you, Lisa. You love my head. I appreciate that. So please get involved if you want. Kimberly is also saying that Boston Children's Hospital is in desperate need of type O blood. So we have talked many times about how blood donations are down with the Red Cross and at all of the hospitals because they're not able to hold all of those blood drives. So download the American Red Cross's blood donation app. It is free. You can set up your profile there. You can set up a donation appointment, and then you can go right in and donate blood. I actually just got the notification the other day through the app that I'm now eligible to make a whole blood donation again because I did that back in April. And so I'm going to be making an appointment very soon to do that. So I just want to thank everybody at the One Mission Virtual Buzz Off for asking me to be an ambassador and to help get the word out. And thank you for wanting to be involved with the war room. Okay, so did I mention that Fernandez delivered a whole new thing of sangria and I'm drinking it out of my giant skull mug that I got at my mailing address? Now, I just want to clarify something. Somebody commented on the Facebook page and said something like, I can't support this. She's constantly drinking or something. I haven't had a cocktail since we were in the war room last week. I have been really trying to focus on not only getting the podcast and everything up and running, but I've been really trying to be healthy and exercise. I'm down 6 pounds, by the way. What? And I savor the cocktails that I have with you guys on Tuesday nights in the war room. That's not a mug. That's a freaking pitcher. Hell yeah. I haven't had a drink in a week. I'm going to have a nice big one with you guys. Plus, it was a gift. When somebody gives you a badass skull mug, you say thank you and you fill it with Fernandez's delicious sangria and you drink it. Damn it. Okay. I want to run down some of the headlines with you guys before I announce who's on the podcast this week because I'm so excited. Okay. We talked about the Buzz Off. We talked about the donation for the Massachusetts Military Support Foundation for the t-shirts, which so excited. As soon as I know when we're going to actually be presenting the actual check, I will let you guys know. According to a new analysis of the Mayan calendar, the world is supposed to end this week. It was originally supposed to end in December of 2012 and it didn't, but now they're saying they didn't read it right. And now the Mayan calendar is saying that the world is going to end this week. So if this is our last cocktails in the war room, I just want to tell you guys that I love you. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for always being there. And cheers to the end of the world. I would expect nothing less from 2020 at this point. I read today that there is a new film about Lemmy from Motorhead that goes into production and begins filming next year. It is going to cover his early life, his youth. Did you know Lemmy was a roadie for Jimi Hendrix? What? Yeah. So I've heard it said both ways. I've said it both ways when I was on the radio, and I've been corrected for both ways. So I would like to ask you guys, is it biopic or biopic? Which one is it? Can you guys phonetically put it in the comments? Biopic or biopic? How do you pronounce that word? Either way, that thing, the biopic, whatever you want to call it, that is about Lemmy's life, it goes into production next year, which I can't wait for. Melissa says the first one. Biopic? Scott says, fuck it, I'm starting Cheers. Biopic, says Will. Biopic, says Amy. Biopic. Oh my God. You guys can't even agree. This is why I have such a hard time with it, because biopic. You guys don't even know. Potato. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Well, anyway, however we want to. Yes, Steve, you're right. 2020 can eat an extra large bag of dicks. Here you go, 2020. These aren't even open yet. I love that you guys are now debating it. No fighting in the war room, but you guys are definitely debating. Google it. I don't know. Tomato. There you go. I can't wait to see the Lemmy movie. Stiz and I, when we went out to broadcast from LA, we went to his cemetery plot because Lemmy was cremated. And so he has a very little squared plot, and it's directly across from Ronnie James Dio. So they can just sit there and give each other the metal horns for eternity. It's friggin' awesome. By the way, if you guys ever go to LA, leave a day. Do the research ahead of time and go to all of the cemeteries, the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, Forest Lawn, all of those, and go and see all of the celebrity grave sites, because like we went and saw Chris Cornell, and we saw Judy Garland, and we saw Mel Blanc, and it was really unreal to kind of see. We even saw Toto from The Wizard of Oz, who's got kind of a really nice headstone, by the way. So do that if you go out to LA. Stiz and I spent the whole day doing that. We saw Dio's grave, which is awesome. It literally has planters that have the devil horns on it. I was surprised that Lemmy's was so small and understated, but that's Lemmy. So the movie goes into production next year. You know those Boston Dynamic robots, the ones that look like dogs that like have the arm that twist the doorknobs and all of that? They're putting them up for sale. $75,000. So if you have raging dog allergies and you want a pet, but you don't want one that sheds, you can buy a dog robot that will open doors for you and probably kill you in your sleep. All right, maybe not. I don't want to say that and then have Boston Dynamics sue me, but you know what I mean. This is Terminator shit. But they're going on sale for $75,000. I saw that and I was like, I need to tell those guys in the war room, because this is one of the things that shows you that the end is coming. Skynet is literally like around the corner. And between that and the Mayan calendar and the fact that Tom Brady debuted his Tampa Bay jersey today on social media. Did you see that? Hold on, I need to have a cocktail. Just looking at him in that awful outfit made me want to vomit. Am I freezing? I'm working on getting hardwired internet wired here into the war room so that I have a better connection. I apologize. Yeah, it's definitely HAL 2020. Seriously. Hillman's robot takeover is coming. Exactly. Carrie, I got a boogie. Catch you soon. All right, Bobby. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Back here next Tuesday night, 8:30. Okay. I also want to promote my buddy Jag. He has a podcast called Jag in Detroit, and he asked me to be a guest on his podcast this week, and it went live this morning. I posted the link up on this Facebook page, and if you go to my Twitter account, @Mistress Carrie, the link is also there. We talked a lot about radio stuff. He asked me a lot of questions, of course, about WAF and about my trips overseas, about starting my podcast, building MCHQ, all of that kind of stuff. So if you want to check that podcast out, my friend Jag has been one of those people that when I can't figure something out, when I can't get a piece of equipment to work, he's one of the people that helps me. And he's got a pretty well-established and awesome podcast. And he asked me to be on it. So Wendy says, fantastic interview. Thank you very much. I listened to it, says Mariah. Thank you. I'm sure Jag appreciates it as well. He's a really nice guy. He's a mass guy he's a transplanted mass hole and is out in Detroit right now. But his podcast is called Jag in Detroit, and it is linked up on my Facebook page and on Twitter if you want to go back and listen to it later. All right. Is today your birthday? Here in the War Room, we always toast people that are celebrating a birthday. And, part of it was, especially during the serious lockdowns, you weren't able to have a birthday party. A lot of people still can't have a birthday party, and they're doing those birthday parades and all of that stuff. So if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. I always run down the list of all of the celebrities that were born on this day as well. Gary Roberts from the Boomtown Rats was born on this day. Patrick Waite from Musical Youth. Now, you might be like, who the hell is that? I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about. But you remember that song, Pass the Dutchie? Aha! Now you remember. It's the Pass the Dutchie dude. And also, Tupac was born on this date in history as well. So happy birthday to all of you guys. That is who you share your birthday with. So cheers on your birthday. Brianna says, you think Wednesday was pissed before. Imagine when her robot sibling shows up. There will be no robot pugs. I don't want to snuggle with a robot pug. I don't want to throw toys for a robot pug. I don't even want to begin to think of what a robot pug would leave on the carpet when they get upset with you. I know what I'm dealing with Wednesday. Okay. Are you guys ready? I want to talk about the podcast. For anybody that doesn't know, last week I launched officially the Mistress Carrie podcast. I have added some podcast outlets. So if you are new to podcasting, there are a ton of different places that you can get the podcast. Now, first of all, the podcast is free. Second of all, a new episode goes live at midnight. Technically, it's Wednesday, but tonight at midnight, when it becomes Wednesday, a new episode is coming. These are all of the places that you can listen to the Mistress Carrie podcast. Apple, Google, Spotify, radio.com, iHeartRadio. Hold on, I have to move the screen around. Stitcher, Deezer, Overcast, Radio Public, TuneIn, and Pocket Casts. And if you're looking for a direct link that is going to take you to the homepage of the podcast, you can go to mistresscarriepodcast.simplecast.com. And there's a whole bio there. Episode 1 featuring Brent Smith from Shinedown is already up there. The trailer is up there as well, which is the introduction for people that maybe had no idea who the hell I was, but they stumbled upon my podcast, which, by the way, is charting on the new music podcast on Apple. So you guys fucking rule. If you're new to podcasts, all of these different places, you can have an account. So if you have an iPhone, you already have Apple Podcasts. It's a purple icon that comes standard on your phone. Just search for the Mistress Carrie podcast, click subscribe, and every time a new episode gets uploaded, you'll get a notification. And then you can listen to me on your ride to work, on your ride home. If you use Spotify, it's up there as well. Google Podcasts are up there. Radio.com is Entercom, where WAF used to be. And I thought it was incredibly gracious that they are putting my podcast up on their platform. iHeartRadio is also hosting it. We found out last week. Stitcher is up there as well. Deezer, Overcast, Radio Public just picked it up yesterday. TuneIn and Pocket Casts are all up there. I'm waiting on Pandora. That's the only one out of all the places I submitted it that I haven't heard from yet. Carrie is going to conquer the podcast world, says Paul. Yes. Once the website, my website was built, I'll just steer you directly to my website. But in the meantime, the homepage for the Mistress Carrie podcast is right there. mistresscarriepodcast.simplecast.com. And then, of course, there's the artwork right there. Sorry, everything's backwards. It used to be backwards for you guys, and now it's backwards for me. But at least you guys can read everything that I show you now, and you'll stop complaining in the comments. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Amy says you're on Castbox, Carrie. Really? Hold on, I got to write that down. I want to add that. Thanks, Amy. I had no idea. Renee says, hey, Carrie, sorry so late. Don't worry about it, Renee. I found Blueberry Cobbler coffee. Gerard, that's New England Coffee Roasters, and that coffee is delicious, especially if you make iced coffee out of it. It is so friggin' good. I have a whole jar of it in my kitchen. It's fantastic. Bridget wants to know, would you ever consider putting it on YouTube? Bridget, that is the plan. I do have my YouTube channel now, and that is coming, but here's why I haven't done it yet. A lot of people watch the Joe Rogan podcast on YouTube because Joe Rogan's guests all come into his studio. Well, right now, there's a virus, and Joe Rogan has got $100 million in Spotify money, so he can afford coronavirus tests for all of his guests. And none of my guests have been able to come into my studio, which means that you would literally get a YouTube video of me right now looking into the screen because I'm doing the interviews over the internet and by phone. However, I am working on video technology like this, but for the podcast, and eventually the podcast is going to be up on YouTube as well. For anybody that is trying to get people involved in the war room, but they don't have a Facebook page, because a lot of people complained about the war room only being on Facebook. The videos, hold on, let me put this back. The videos are now getting uploaded to YouTube as soon as we get finished in the war room. So the videos on YouTube aren't live, but at least they're up there now, and people can check out what we're talking about and all of that. So the YouTube channel is alive as well. Christopher says, badass intro. Thank you very much. For anybody that missed the story behind the intro to the podcast and the intro music that you hear in the war room, the music is called War Drums, and Sully from Godsmack wrote it and recorded it for me. And it's recorded in 107 beats a minute, which is pretty badass. Joe wants to know about Zoom. Here's the problem with Zoom, Joe. The audio quality isn't good. And a lot of the stuff that I'm using right now, the audio quality is really, really good. And so I am working on video options that are going to give us the same audio quality as well, because I want people that, you know, are just downloading the audio so that they can listen to the podcast while they're working out or driving to work or whatever. Heads up, iHeart is saying there's no content on the podcast. iHeart was fine before. I'll check it when I get done because the new episode goes live at midnight. I checked it before and it was fine. There's only one episode that's live right now, and it's Brent Smith from Shinedown. But are you guys ready for the announcement about who's on this week? 81 nights in a row of solid proof of us willing to watch videos of just you talking, says Tria. Yeah, you're totally right. Is a podcast just audio? Most of the time it is, Dave. You can download it right onto your phone and you can listen to it. Although a lot of people put their podcast, they videotape the interviews and they put them up on YouTube as well, which is in my plan. Part of the purpose of the Mistress Carrie podcast is to be able to take you guys backstage at all of the shows the way that I did on WAAF. And so the podcast is mobile and agile, and that is part of the plan. So when the shows start again, I'll be able to take you guys backstage, and I definitely will be videotaping all of the episodes at that point as well. Billy says, sorry I'm late. I was shooting my 9mm. Got to do something, Billy. I checked and it's still not on iHeart. Michelle, it was on iHeart last week. I saw it, and I'm going to double check the link when I get done. It was up there. I don't know why it's not there anymore. Okay. Are we ready? Episode number 2 of the Mistress Carrie podcast goes live tonight at midnight. Hold on. I have a visual. Oh, my hair is a mess after I wear the headphones. Are we ready? This week on the podcast, you're getting not one, but 2 interviews. The first interview on the podcast this week is Corey motherfucking Taylor. Now, Corey Taylor was in Europe when WAAF went off the air and he wasn't able to call. He got word last minute, and with the time change, we really tried to get him on the air and we couldn't. And so Corey really wanted to be a part of the podcast. Now, when you hear the episode, you are going to get a lot of details from Corey about what he's been doing during the coronavirus, including the details on his upcoming solo album, which he talked a lot about in this episode of the podcast. So I am super excited for you guys to hear it. Corey and I have been friends for years. We talked about some old times. We talked about a lot of stuff, especially how he spent his newlywed time because he got married right before the coronavirus happened, and what it was like to be quarantined in Vegas as a newlywed during the coronavirus. Corey motherfucking Taylor is guest number 1 on episode 2 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. Now, originally, Corey was going to be the only guest, but there's a bonus guest. And I thought about making it 2 different episodes, but I wanted to just put them both up there because I wanted you guys to just get both interviews in the same download on the same podcast episode. So last week, Brent Smith from Shinedown was on the podcast. And if you know anything about the guys from Shinedown, if you've gone to any of their shows, there's a lot of ball busting and there's a lot of back and forth. And Brent talked a lot about the project that he was working on in LA, which got him stuck in a hotel for 14 weeks. And it is Smith & Myers, which is the acoustic project that he works on with his guitar player from Shinedown, Zach Myers. So when Zach found out that Brent was on episode 1 of the podcast, he called and was like, I want to be on the podcast too. So the second interview on the podcast this week is Zach Myers from Shinedown. And if you are a Shinedown fan, you are going to get a lot of behind the scenes information about the band, their writing process, the ball busting that they do on stage. I got a lot of gossip about Brent that I didn't get from Brent, but I got it from Zach. So this episode is pretty awesome. It's a little bit longer. It's like an hour and 45 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes, something like that. But there's a lot of great stuff in there. So Corey Taylor from Slipknot and Stone Sour and his upcoming solo record, and then Zach Myers from Shinedown and Smith & Myers are both on the Mistress Carrie podcast, which goes live at midnight tonight. And I am super excited for you guys to hear episode number 2. And just so you know, the next few weeks guests are already lined up and they're going to be awesome. So I hope you guys are ready. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, subscribe. If you already have, I'll ask you guys this, and I've talked about it in the past. When you launch a podcast, there's a lot of analytics and there's a lot of scratching your way to the top of all of the charts on the podcast. And obviously, the higher up you get in the analytics, the more your podcast gets seen by people that are just kind of surfing through the podcast outlets looking for a place to find something that they're interested in. So if you're listening to the podcast on one of these outlets and you like the episode, subscribe to the podcast on one of these outlets, and then it'll ask you to review it. And if you guys don't mind, can you give it a 5-star review and leave some comments? There's a lot of people that are learning who I am that have no idea what WAAF was, and they're just discovering me because of the podcast. And so I could really use you guys' help to really get this podcast up and running and just kicking down everybody's doors. And we're going to have some really, 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 really good episodes. Oh, did I really freeze? God damn it. I'm working on it. I promise, guys. I mean, it's one thing to have all of these fancy graphics, but I'm working on. I just fell off the bed, says Heidi, Corey motherfucking Taylor. Yeah, you guys are going to love this episode. It's awesome. I'm super psyched about it. And I tell him in the episode, but I really want you guys to understand that it comes from the heart. There are a lot of artists that when they found out WAF was going away, that reached out to me in one way or another, text, email, whatever. And they said, you know what, wherever you're going, we're going to. However we can help you, we want to help you. You've helped us along the way over the years, and we want to be there to help you guys. And so those artists are putting their money where their mouth is. Sorry, I have to fix my hair because it's driving me crazy. They're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're all calling me going, hey, you know what? We want to be part of the podcast. So right now, the podcast, you're going to get a new episode every week. It's going to go live after Cocktails in the War Room at midnight, which is technically Wednesday. But don't be surprised. And that's why I want you guys to subscribe, because don't be surprised if bonus episodes come and you guys don't even know they're coming. Because I might not want to wait until the next Cocktails in the War Room to let you guys know that there's a bonus episode. I might get an interview from somebody that just called out of the blue and was like, fuck it, let's do the podcast. And then I'm going to put it right up. So I don't want you guys to miss anything, because there's a lot of great artists that are getting involved. And I'm so psyched about it. So subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to put those things up there one more time because I got the fancy graphics. I love the artwork that Latini Creative Solutions made for me. People have reached out and they're like, it kind of looks like you. I mean, if you didn't have a face. Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, just imagine me without a nose and a mouth, or nose and eyes. And I got the headphones minus the Slipknot hat. And that's basically what I look like right there. So, I'm so excited that the podcast is doing as well as it is already, but keep it up. And if you guys know any Slipknot or Stone Sour or Corey Taylor fans that might not join us in the War Room, make sure you share the podcast episode with them or tag them in the post. And the same thing goes with Shinedown, because Shinedown Nation is a bunch of crazy freaks, and I love you guys. And when you hear this interview with Zach Myers, he talks about a lot of stuff, and you really get to know the guys and how they work together and how they really are a family. And it's pretty awesome. So if you're a Shinedown fan, you're going to love this episode as well. So Shu should be the first pod, says Steven. Well, Mike Shu was the first weekly Cocktails in the War Room. And I promise you that there is going to come a time when Mike is going to join me in MCHQ, and we're going to sit down and do a podcast together as well. I don't see it on radio.com. It's up there. If you go to that website, mistresscarriepodcast.simplecast.com, go there. That's the homepage of the podcast. And there's a button that says subscribe. Go there, and there's links to all of the outlets. And if you click one of those links for whatever app you use, it'll open the app for you. So it'll open it on iHeart. It should. It'll open it on all of the different outlets, and it should be there. So that's what I mean. Like, if you're searching for it and it's not coming up, it might just be because a lot of people haven't listened to it yet. But it's up there. I double-checked it today before we came into the War Room. But now you guys have got me all paranoid, and I'm going to go back and double-check them all again. Shinedown seems like the perfect band to shoot some pool and drink with. Well, some of the guys don't drink. Some of them do. They're just really, really nice guys. The same thing with Corey Taylor. And let me give you some inside information. Corey, in the interview, towards the end, said, you know, he kind of asks if all of my contact information was the same. And he was like, because I want to send you my solo record before it comes out. And so after we recorded the interview, he sent me a text and it said, this fucking better still be you. Look at the hiccups. And I said, yes, it's still me. And then he sent me the rough mixes of his solo record. Now, it's not done yet. He's working on it right now. The Smith and Myers solo album is pretty much done as well. Now, I haven't heard that, but Corey sent me his solo album. And let me tell you what, it is all over the place. It is. I asked him in the interview why this record couldn't be a Slipknot or a Stone Sour album. And his answer was really funny. You'll have to listen to the episode to hear what he said. But now that I've heard the record, I understand why it's not a Stone Sour or a Slipknot album. It's really, really good. And if you are a Corey Taylor fan, I think some people pigeonholed him as just being the lead singer with the rubber mask in Slipknot. And then Stone Sour came out and Bother was such a huge hit. And people kind of realized like, oh, wait, he can do other things. And then when he started doing his solo acoustic storyteller shows and he released his books, people realized, Mark says, did he really bring up sucking your toes? Towards the end of the interview, the toes came up. I'll just say that. I'll tease that. But this solo album brings out a lot of the other flavors in Corey Taylor's writing and playing that I always knew was there, but maybe some other people didn't, just because I've known him for so long. And you guys are going to think this solo record is really cool. And I'm psyched that he trusted me with the recordings, which I have, but I'm not putting them up anywhere. But the album is really good. I don't know when it's coming out, but it is coming out soon. And if you listen to the podcast episode, then you'll get all of the answers that he was willing to give me. There's, let's see, you guys are all killing me with all of the iHeart stuff and whatever. Mike, producer Mike, I was at that show in the basement of the Middle East on the book covers tour. We actually talk about that a little bit because that night he told a story about a night that he and I had gone out in Boston together. And if you look for the YouTube video of Corey Taylor at the Middle East playing solo acoustic, he tells a story of he and I in that Storytellers, and it's hilarious. Tommy says, just found your podcast on Podbay. I had no idea it was there either. I'll check that out as well. I'm writing it down. I'm taking copious notes because by the time I finish that giant mug of Fernandez's Sangria, I'm probably not going to remember much. Jeff says, you are to this era and technology what Wolfman Jack was in his day. I don't know about that, Jeff, but I appreciate the suggestion. I'm trying to keep on top of all of the technology. And I've told you guys that, it's taken a lot to kind of learn how to do all of this stuff. And I don't just want to do stuff. I want to do it right. And I want to do it well. And I want the quality to be really good. And so that's why it's taken a little bit longer for me to get some stuff up for you guys. But I feel like we're really rolling now. And I'm really proud of the podcast. I think it sounds really good. MCHQ sounds great. It's functioning awesome. It looks awesome. I can't wait to actually start having people come in there in person without a fucking mask on. Would be great. I can't wait to start going backstage to concerts and sitting down and talking to bands the way that I'm used to doing it in their dressing rooms, on their tour buses, backstage with their feet up. No moonshine tonight in the punch. No, there's no moonshine in this batch of sangria, so I can still pronounce all of my words. I'm okay right now. Is there a way to track the number of podcast listeners? Wendy, there is. And that is one of the ways that you can go and partner with advertisers and start to get sponsors, which is what I'm going to need to do since I don't have a day job anymore. It's actually a lot more reliable, I think, than the way that they do radio ratings. Actually, that's one of the things we talked about in my buddy Jag's podcast, that Jag in Detroit podcast that I put up on this Facebook page earlier today, and that's up on my Twitter feed. He was a radio guy that went into podcasting as well, and we kind of talked about the difficulty in proving radio ratings versus being able to show listenership in podcasts. And the podcast is growing every day. And it's because of you guys are helping to spread the word, and you're subscribing, and you're giving great reviews, and you're commenting, and you guys are just freaking awesome. Let's see. I just checked it out, and it is awesome. Thanks, Heidi. I appreciate that. History in the making right here, says Melissa. I don't know about that. Jeff, I couldn't agree with you more. He says, man, do I need concerts. Fuck yes. We all need concerts. We all need to be able to get together and go out and listen to great music and have those communal experiences. I think that everything that is going on politically right now, I think it's only going to get worse as the year gets on because it's an election year. And between the virus and the isolation, and while Massachusetts is on the downslope of cases, there are a lot of places like Oklahoma and Florida where their cases are on the rise. I just read something today that Beijing is closing all of the schools because the wave 2 of the coronavirus is starting to hit China. And so between the isolation of the virus and then everything that has happened post George Floyd and all of the peaceful protests, which are justified, obviously, and then all of the rioting that, you know, is just destroying people's businesses and creating such mayhem in cities. There's just so much going on. And one of the things you'll hear as a common thread in a lot of these podcast episodes are the musicians and the artists talking about how music has always been a place and a thing that was super inclusive, that was a place where everyone belonged. And that is the same rule that I'm holding Cocktails in the War Room to and the Mistress Carrie podcast. There's a place for everyone. What we want is for everyone that loves rock music. That's our common thread. The music is what we love. It's the soundtrack to our lives. I don't know about you guys, but I can tell you the songs I was listening to before I could tell you the year and be like, oh, well, I remember listening to that. So it must have been, oh, well, it was Def Leppard Pyromania. So it had to be 1984. Or, you know, oh, well, I remember, you know, Queensryche Operation Mindcrime. So it had to be then. Or, oh, that was the year they opened up for Def Leppard on the Hysteria tour in the round at the Worcester Centrum. It's like, that's what we all use as the milestones and the benchmarks in all of our lives. And for that, it doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. It doesn't matter if you grew up rich or poor. It doesn't matter what color you are, if you're old or young, if you're male or female, gay or straight, Christian or atheist. It doesn't matter. What matters is that when we're all in that crowd together and we're all experiencing that music and the drums and the lights and the PA and the pyro, and we're all screaming in unison, in that moment, we are all one. And that's what makes music such an amazing life force for all of us. If we didn't all love music, we wouldn't all be hanging out in the war room together. And that's what's making everything so hard, is that if we were all able to join together and go to these shows together, and there are so many artists that would really love to just go out and be a positive force. There's so much negativity that you're being bombarded with on the internet and on the television all of the time. And if we were going to shows right now, we would all be leaving feeling better about the world because we would have all experienced something together. And we just can't do it right now. And I know that it's coming back. I mean, Brent talked about it in last week's episode of the podcast, that there's every band, every promoter, every manager, every record label, 2021, they've got a lot of plans about getting these tours back out on the road. But between now and then, the wait is killing me. And I know it is for you guys too. Keith says, the first concert, I was 15 at the Garden watching the Grateful Dead. Probably eating a grilled cheese sandwich that a hippie cooked for you on Canal Street. Most likely. Jason says, music is life. Yeah, exactly. And we all feel the same way. And I can tell you that there are going to be a lot of discussions in the podcast and eventually on the War Room as well, when I can, you know, start having guests virtually on here. And like with Mike Shue, they actually come and join me on the green couch, that there are going to be people that have opinions on what's going on, whether it be politically or socially. And I want the War Room and I want the podcast to be a place where people feel comfortable about voicing those opinions. no matter how you feel, because most of us, I would say 90% of us, fall somewhere in between the 5% of batshit crazy people over here and the 5% of batshit crazy people over here. The rest of us are in here somewhere, and in here somewhere, we can have adult conversations and be respectful and hear each other out, because in here somewhere is where the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights and all of those things that we all cherish so much live. This is where we all find the common ground when we finally all realize in here, not here and not here, but in here, that there's no other country where we'd be able to disagree so feverishly and still salute the same flag. And the War Room and the podcast, I just refuse to get sucked into all of the negativity and the name calling and the cancel culture and all of that stuff, because we've got to come together. And I'm not trying to have a cheesy kumbaya moment, but I feel like smarter minds need to prevail here, and common sense needs to become more common. And I have faith in all of you guys after how we weathered 81 nights in a row in the War Room together, some nights laughing hysterically, some nights crying hysterically, and everything in between, that I know that you guys are capable of empathy and listening and supporting each other and being open-minded. And a lot of that comes from our shared experiences, accepting everyone at the shows we go to. And that's why you guys are fucking awesome. And that's why I look forward to the War Room every night, or every Tuesday night at 8:30, and why I spend so much time working so hard on the podcast to make them great for you, because I really want to be able to be an escape for you guys, because this year is going to get crazier before it gets calmer, unfortunately. And you guys know that you're always welcome here, and that we welcome everybody, except Nazis. Fuck them. I got to take a hard line somewhere. Fuck the Nazis. My grandfather fought against all that bullshit. I don't want the Nazis in here. Anybody else we can talk, but definitely no Nazis. Anyway, Come Together, that's a Beatles tune. Hey, are you allowed to mention that? Oh, come on, Michael. Of course I am. I could talk about people's music. I just can't play it in here because of the licensing and stuff. Unless I get gifted a song like I did from Sully with War Drums, which is fucking awesome. And yes, people are commenting about local music as well. And there's going to be a place for that here and on the podcast as well. Scott says, fucks Nazis as well. Yeah. 2020 equals dumpster fire, says Eric. Yeah, exactly. Nick says, my first concert was Metallica, COC, and Jerry Cantrell. Nick, I mean, is there a better first concert? Probably not. You fucking win. That's so good. And Roger Goodell, says Tracy. Actually, I wouldn't mind having Roger Goodell in here. That would be kind of interesting. I would interview Roger Goodell for the podcast, 100%. I would want to know what it's like to know that pretty much everyone in New England hates your guts, and how you get out of bed in the morning in your vacation home in Maine when you know everyone hates you. That's a good question. I would totally ask Roger Goodell that. I don't think he knows about the Mistress Carrie podcast, but Roger, if you're watching this for some reason, I would love to pour you some of Fernandez's sangria and sit you down either here on the couch in the War Room or in MCHQ in my beautiful studio. I'll even move a Muppet out of a seat for you. Okay. So what do we think? Yeah, Edwin says War Drums is great. I think so too. I think it's awesome. Sean says Roger Goodell would never go on any New England podcast. Maybe if it was hosted by a girl. Come on, Roger. Come hang out with the chicks. It's okay. Scott says first concert, Aerosmith, New Year's Eve, 98 into 99. Ooh, that's a good one. I quit smoking because I used to smoke back in college and high school. Terrible. I quit smoking at an Aerosmith concert with the Mighty Mighty Bosstones at the Boston Garden on New Year's Eve, 1993. It was right before my last semester of college, and I got walking pneumonia that night, and that's how I quit smoking. And it was because of Aerosmith. Thank you guys very much, Aerosmith. Marcy says, Wednesday, come here. No, I think she's gone for the night, unfortunately. So there is no more Pug Cam. Sorry. No more Wednesday. She'll be back next week, though, I promise. All right, guys. So I just want to recap before we get out of here. Don't forget about the Buzz Off on June 25th. You can get more details at buzzforkids.org. It's the One Mission virtual Buzz Off, and it's happening June 25th. You can text Buzz Off to 44321, and you can donate. And if you want to shave your head and get sponsors and all of that, go and register online at Buzz for Kids. Don't forget about the mailing address change. So if you're going to send anything for me or Wednesday, or if you want to send a letter or whatever it is that you want to send, you don't have to send me anything. But if you want to send something, make sure that you make a note of the changed address to make sure that I get it. The podcast is all right there, all of the different outlets. And as soon as we get out of here, I'm going to go double check some of those other outlets as well, and double check the iHeartRadio one, because the last time I checked, it was up there. But subscribe to the podcast. Download the episodes, review them 5 stars if you don't mind. New episode goes live at midnight tonight, featuring Corey motherfucking Taylor from Slipknot and Stone Sour, and Zach Myers from Shinedown and Smith & Myers, which I am super excited about. I will let you guys know as soon as we make our donation to the Massachusetts Military Support Foundation, and the $5,600 that you guys helped me raise with the purchase of all of the cocktails and the War Room t-shirts. Oh, wait. Wednesday, do you want to come back? Come here. I'll turn the Pug Cam back on for you. Wednesday. I'm trying to get her back in here. Wednesday, come here. Do you want to play with the monkey? Hold on, I'll put the Pug Cam back on. Wednesday. Wednesday, come here. So come say bye to everybody. And say thank you for all of the toys they send you. Yeah, we got her back. Do you want to say thank you? Yes, you're being a good girl. Huh? Are you being a good girl? I love the fucking Pug Cam. It's so awesome. Do you know you have your own cam? Huh? Here comes my dog, says Mark. Oh my God. Get the fucking stingray, says Brianna. I know that the stingray, I don't know where the stingray is. It's around somewhere, but the monkey got her back, so I'll take the monkey. Yay, Wednesday. Now somebody's saying the radio.com app doesn't have the new podcast. God damn it, I know it's up there. Go to the website, the Mistress Carrie podcast.simplecast.com, and click the link and try it that way. I know that they were up there before. All right, Wednesday, say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody. Say thank you for sending me all of my toys. I love them all, especially this giant blue dog and my monkey. Right? No, over here. Come this way. Come this way. Come this way so everybody can see you. Huh? God, the Pug Cam is awesome. All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out in the War Room with me. I appreciate it. I love you guys. You guys are the best. I really hope you enjoy the new episode of the podcast. It goes live at midnight. Hit me up on the socials. Mistress Carrie WAF on Facebook and Instagram, and at Mistress Carrie on Twitter and YouTube. And once again, I want to thank RPM Dynamics. Find them at rpmdynamics.com if you have audio needs, if you're looking to update the sound system in your restaurant or your business, or if you're creating an outdoor entertainment space because of the virus. And also imagecustomdesigns.com if you're looking for any of those custom acrylic sneeze guards that you need to get your business up and running and protect your cashiers They are the sponsors not only of Cocktails in the War Room this week, but also sponsors of the podcast this week as well. I'll meet you guys here in the War Room next week at 8:30. Good night, guys.